What if this movie had come out 2 years ago? We would have thought it unthinkable that a newspaper wouldn't print information because the president told them not to. But now it doesn't seem so unthinkable. Is it a coincidence that this movie is coming out now and was filmed during this administration? The attacks on the press and freedom of the press, the government trying to bury a story, come up again and again. Nobody expected a Hollywood legend and a late-night comedian to team up for such a brutal takedown that it should have come with a warning label. The endless feud between Trump and Hollywood is like a reality show that refuses to be canceled, but when Meryl Streep and Jimmy Kimmel set their sights on Trump's reckless decisions, it felt less like a roast and more like a demolition. Kimmel brought the jokes, Meryl brought the gravitas, and together they pounced on Trump's decisions like a Thanksgiving turkey at Mar-a-Lago. In the opening paragraphs, there's a reference to northern New Jersey, drawing attention to an article penned by a well-meaning reporter. The author recalls an instance where a political figure, in mimicking a reporter with disabilities, displayed disrespect towards someone less privileged and unable to retaliate. This moment left a lasting impression, casting a somber shadow. The standoff between Hollywood and Trump is reminiscent of a perpetual rivalry where one side is armed with prestigious awards and witty comebacks, and the other with impulsive Twitter pronouncements and a penchant for self-tanning. It's like Batman versus the Joker, but with the Joker constantly harping on about having the biggest inauguration audience ever. Meryl Streep has become a major thorn in Trump's side, effortlessly puncturing his ego with the same grace she brings to her remarkable roles. Her speeches aren't just criticisms, they're obliterations. In response to Streep's criticisms, Trump launched a Twitter tirade, calling her one of the most overrated actresses in Hollywood and accusing her of being a Hillary Clinton sycophant. He also claimed he never mocked a disabled reporter but was merely showing how the reporter groveled when he misrepresented his words in an article written 16 years prior. Nothing seems to irk Trump more than a strong woman who refuses to bow to him. He once tried to diminish her by calling her overrated, a statement that baffled even his supporters. To argue that an actress capable of embodying anyone from Margaret Thatcher to a singing nun is overrated is debatable, but if that's the case, then Trump's business acumen is the stuff of legends. However, she's not alone in this fight, as Jimmy Kimmel, America's late-night watchdog, masterfully exposes hypocrisy with a smirk and a monologue. I am the most overrated, overdecorated, and currently overberated actress who loves football of my generation, she states. And if you like that, please subscribe. Kimmel doesn't just roast politicians, he slow cooks them, allowing their own words and actions to marinate until they fall apart. He has dissected Trump's chaotic presidency for years, pointing out the absurdity with a surgeon's precision if that surgeon wielded a microphone instead of a scalpel and had zero patience for nonsense. Do you know how many times Trump lied during his speech last night? 11 million. 3 fact-checkers died counting. Not everyone was a fan of the president's speech, and one gentleman on social media, I think, summed it up pretty well. This is perhaps the angriest, least compassionate, worst State of the Union speech ever given. It was an embarrassment to our country. Oh wait, that's what Trump wrote about Biden's speech last year. Well, he outdid it. There were a lot of digs at Biden last night. Trump said Biden was the worst president ever. He blamed him for the price of eggs. Kimmel was honing his monologue and Meryl was preparing to deliver what she does best, a performance so powerful that even Trump's most ardent supporters would reconsider their life choices. Because, as history has shown, when Trump picks a fight with Hollywood, he loses big. The evening rolled on, the audience laughed, the cameras rolled, Jimmy Kimmel delivered his usual zingers in the monologue. But then something shifted, a gear change, a moment of comedic precision where the gloves came off and the real punches began. At the heart of it all was Trump, musing about hosting the Kennedy Center Honors himself this year. He said he should do it because he's the king of ratings. That would be so great, he hosts the awards and I stay home and write insulting tweets while he does it. Let's do it. We don't need wokeness at the Kennedy Center, some of those shows were terrible, just an embarrassment that they were even put on. Meryl Streep, the grand dame of Hollywood, stood beside him like a coiled assassin, ready to deliver a fatal blow with her eloquence and undeniable presence alone. Kimmel began with his trademark smirk, skewering the absurdities like a late-night executioner. He needed no embellishment. Trump's track record read like rejected SNL material. His business failures, bizarre obsession with crowd sizes, endless litany of lawsuits, it was all there, a goldmine of comedy wrapped in a veneer of delusion. Kimmel has spent years honing the art of turning Trump's own words against him, and this night was no exception. Each joke landed like a well-aimed dart, eliciting explosions of laughter from the audience. Then Meryl entered the fray. She didn't need to shout, she didn't even need a punchline. Her words alone carried the weight of 1,000 press conferences. On Saturday, there was a football game in Tuscaloosa between Alabama and Georgia. Attention was drawn to the behavior of a prominent individual who seemed to be engaged in a rather mundane activity, throwing food to people behind a barrier. He was scattering chicken nuggets as if he were feeding dolphins at SeaWorld, resembling a king tossing bread to peasants. At the moment when laughter reached its peak, Meryl delivered a line that instantly shifted the tone, transforming an amusing scene into a withering critique. It was no longer just humor, but a skillful unveiling, so precise that even Trump's most ardent supporters would likely be forced to pause before voicing their indignation. By the end of the performance, the audience wasn't simply laughing, they were witnessing a masterful analysis of absurdity, blending sharp satire with undeniable truth, presented by two luminaries of the entertainment world. Hollywood once again demonstrated that humor is a potent weapon against political absurdity. Kimmel possessed the rare gift of transforming political absurdity into witty jokes, so accurate that they tore through the thin layers of vanity. Take, for example, President Trump, who doesn't usually fill out tournament brackets, seems to be regretting it now. "President Trump, did you fill out an NCAA March Madness bracket?" he was asked. "No, I should have," he replied, adding, "There were a couple of upsets, right?" He was immediately asked if he had spoken to anyone about getting a completed bracket after the fact. The first thing that comes to mind is how to cheat. Meanwhile, Meryl had an uncanny ability to elevate the moment above the level of comedy. While Kimmel held the audience's attention with relentless wit, she brought a presence that made even the most ludicrous situations seem like a Shakespearean tragedy wrapped in an Oscar-worthy performance. Her words were measured, thoughtful, yet sharp enough to make even the most seasoned political strategists sweat. She didn't need to shout or exaggerate. Her delivery alone carried the weight of truth, cloaked in elegance but laced with undeniable critique. In the magical twilight of the night, a captivating battle of wits unfolded. Kimmel, like a sharpshooter, unleashed a barrage of satirical arrows at Trump, mocking his latest chaotic decisions with the precision of a professional hitman from the world of humor. Then Streep took the stage, her elegance and measured words holding the audience in awe. Her lines were so sharp and precise that it seemed the hall would erupt in applause. It was that moment when laughter and the realization of truth merge, when comedy softens the blow but the message penetrates to the very heart. That's the magic of satire. People come for the jokes and they leave with food for thought. Traditional political discourse can be dry and predictable, but comedy penetrates all barriers, endears itself, and then stuns with the truth before one realizes what has happened. In an era where misinformation spreads like wildfire and absurd decisions are defended with screaming tweets, humor remains one of the most powerful weapons against absurdity. Comedians and actors have a hard time because by exposing themselves to the public, they become targets for criticism, armies of bots, and even threats. But they can't help it because the sense of duty and the need to tell the truth are stronger than fear. After the completion of this enchanting number, the audience was not just entertained, they were thoughtful, laughing, but also comprehending the reality hidden behind the jokes. After all, when humor is so sharp, it does not just amuse, it exposes, enlightens, and, most importantly, it is remembered. And as if on cue, a storm erupted. No sooner had the broadcast ended than Trump's fingers flew across the keyboard, spewing a torrent of angry messages onto social media, resembling more the tantrum of a child who had lost a video game. Insults? Present. Wild conspiracy theories? Check. An attempt to portray himself as the victim? Of course. It was a veritable verbal chaos, understandable only to those fluent in the language of enraged tweets, complete with excessive exclamation points and creative spelling choices. Without wasting any time, Trump once again called Meryl Streep overrated because, apparently, the three-time Oscar winner and cinematic icon still haunts him. And Kimmel, according to Trump, failed as a host despite the ratings suggesting otherwise. All this coming from a man whose casinos repeatedly went bankrupt. And, of course, Kimmel was labeled a puppet of the left as if his years of jokes targeting both sides of the political spectrum never existed. The culmination of the absurdity was the claim that the federal government under Biden is spending $8 million on gender reassignment surgeries for mice. The irony is that Trump craves celebrity recognition, needing it like another dose of self-tanner. Yet, time and again, he engages in conflicts with Hollywood legends and suffers a crushing defeat. This is a man who spent decades trying to win over the entertainment elite, appearing in movies, socializing with A-list stars, and even hosting his own reality show. But as soon as Hollywood turned its back on him, he lashed out with the fury of a rejected admirer, insisting he never dreamed of their attention. His supporters, of course, rushed to his defense, trying to justify what happened. Some resorted to the classic argument, they're just jealous. Yes, because what could be better than complaining on social media about people who don't even think about you? Others tried to argue that Streep and Kimmel are out-of-touch elites. But that argument would be convincing if their idol wasn't a billionaire living in a gilded tower and hosting steak parties at his private club. Then came the most desperate conspiracy theories. Perhaps Kimmel works for a secret Hollywood cabal and Streep is a deep state agent trained to deliver killer monologues. Maybe it's all a setup by fake news to distract from something Trump did. Though his worst enemy is himself. But no matter how hard his fans tried, the damage was done. The scandal only helped spread the viral clip, ensuring that those who missed it the first time would definitely see it now. Every tweet, every defensive interview, every angry tirade only confirmed one simple truth: no one does more damage to Trump than himself. And so the internet, as always, turned Trump's meltdown into meme gold. The hashtags #Meryl vs. Trump and #Kimmel clapback trended, and Twitter users unleashed an avalanche of witty comments, hilarious GIFs, and savage memes. One depicted Streep in a boxing ring, wearing gloves, while Trump flailed helplessly on the floor. Another featured a clip of Kimmel mocking Trump, captioned, "This is how you deal with pesky critics." And, of course, Trump's own angry outburst was turned into a Mad Libs game, where users filled in the blanks with any absurd insults they thought the former president might spew. Late-night talk show hosts didn't hold back. Colbert read Trump's angry speech verbatim, without cuts or jokes, simply letting the absurdity speak for itself. Then he sighed and said, "Yes, that's the leader of a major political party." Seth Meyers conducted a deep analysis of the situation, complete with dramatic reenactments of Trump pacing around Mar-a-Lago and yelling at the television. Even Saturday Night Live couldn't resist creating a sketch in which Streep, in all her Oscar-winning glory, delivered a monologue of such power that Trump's staff fake applauded to avoid being fired on the spot. It wasn't just a viral moment, it was a pop culture event, proving once again that in a battle against comedians, actors, and the internet, Trump always loses. Trump has spent years cultivating an image as a television icon, but in the real world of pop culture, he always comes up short. Every time he engages in conflict with Hollywood comedians or musicians, it backfires. The man who built his image on a reality show somehow forgets that in the entertainment world, he is the subject of ridicule, not the producer. This moment wasn't just another celebrity feud with Trump, it was a reminder of how powerful pop culture can be in shaping public opinion. Traditional media outlets report facts, but humor and storytelling make people feel the absurdity of what is happening. Kimmel's jokes hit home because they punctured the stream of lies. Streep's words carried weight because they exposed the ridiculousness of the situation with striking clarity. And the reason this stings Trump so much is that he craves admiration from the very industry that mocks him. He longs for the approval of late-night talk show hosts and awards ceremonies, but every time he steps into the ring, he's defeated by people who are simply better at the game than he is. He spent years perfecting the art of manipulating the media, only to realize that against real artists, he's just another angry guest on a show he can't control. And now, the big question, will Trump take the bait? Will he return to the digital arena, furiously hammering out mad replies? Or will his advisors beg him to ignore the incident? History suggests he won't be able to resist. The man has the self-control of a raccoon rummaging through a garbage can. But what else is there to say? He's already called Streep overrated, and accusing Kimmel of flopping is just another recycling of old grievances. His supporters will, of course, rally around him, but the damage is done. The moment happened and millions of people saw it. This is more than just a Hollywood versus Trump headline. It underscores a broader truth: the voices of culture can challenge power in ways that politicians and journalists cannot. Laughter cuts through the noise, satire exposes the ridiculous, and no matter how many angry posts are written, Trump can't control the fact that he's once again become the butt